All right. Yes. Hey, guys. My name is Kevin Ploe. I'm from Yahoo Entertainment in Los Angeles. I'm super excited to be back in New York City hosting Build interviews this week, especially because of this first one I have coming up in just a second. We all have coming up in just a second. He is the Grammy-nominated singer behind such songs as I Need a Dollar, The Man, and what is sure to be his next hit. I'm pretty sure it already is his next hit, and not only a summer anthem, but a New York anthem. So very excited to talk to him about this song right here on this stage in Manhattan, Mr. Aloe Blacc. Please give it up. So we are going to talk, we're going to bring Aloe out in just a few minutes, but first we are going to show you the video for his new song, Brooklyn in the Summer. Here we go.
Remember we sat in the cold, no money in Montreal. Underneath that waterfall, nobody else ever saw. I packed up everything except those memories that only I can see and can't get rid of. I still remember the first, your body hit every nerve. Used to wake up in my shirt, that's the one I had to burn. Trying not to stare, but you are everywhere. You're everywhere that I've ever been. You feel like Brooklyn in the summer. Been hiding, half awake for so long. And it's the subtlety only you make me see, bringing the mess of me back together. You feel like Brooklyn in the summer. Been stumbling, half awake for so long. Gotta forget that feeling. Giving this something real. I've gotta let you go. Gotta let you go. This morning I walked to the train just like you did every day. Everyone else is the same. I wonder if you're the same. And do you lay your head in someone else's bed to help you bury it just like you always did? And now you're in all of my words, only way I can return. Memories fade in reverse, but you will always be heard. Wherever I can sing, you'll be right there with me in quotes and melodies that only I can see. You feel like Brooklyn in the summer. Been hiding, half awake for so long. And it's the subtlety that only you make me see, bringing the mess of me back together. You feel like Brooklyn in the summer. Been stumbling, half awake for so long. Gotta forget that feeling, giving us something real.
Brooklyn.
Very hot.
Cumplí 72. Yo llegué en el 59.
I know nobody. I know no other place.
Aloe Blacc is in the building. In the build, I should say. Please do not throw any dollars at him. That's happened.
Really?
That's happened.
Oh, yeah, it's happened to me
Yeah.
before, for sure.
Yeah. It is great to see you, man.
Good, thank you.
I love this song. This is going to be, as I said in the intro, this is going to be, I think it's already turning into a summer anthem, a New York anthem. I know Brooklyn in the summer, in a lot of ways in the song, it's metaphorical, but also clearly, as we see from the video, a love letter to the borough. You are from Southern California,
Yeah,
the OC, Laguna Hills to be specific. So how does a Cali guy come to writing and performing a Brooklyn anthem? What inspired this?
I mean, I think, Brooklyn is a beautiful place. Like, I wrote some of my favorite songs in Williamsburg on an album I did. I Need a Dollar came out of Brooklyn. And some of my favorite hip-hop artists, I grew up making hip-hop music. Some of my favorite hip-hop artists from Brooklyn. And the summers that I've spent there have been magical, been amazing. And so I had a chance to collaborate with some songwriters. Jay Stolar is a singer-songwriter who I worked with on this song, and he lives in Brooklyn. And this is a love story. It happened to be a story that's very personal to him, but in the collaboration, we wanted to tell the story in the best way, and it came out sounding like this. Was I think if you're not paying attention to the lyrics, you just feel like the soul and the fun and the essence of of Brooklyn in the song.
In a lot of ways, it's like Biggie going back to Cali in reverse.
In reverse,
yeah,
West almost
Coast
that, almost
yeah. That. Was there can you recall like a specific moment? You mentioned being in Williamsburg or in Brooklyn when the song came to you. Like, can you pinpoint that moment where this song came into your head?
No, this is like I was saying. Jay Stolar is the singer-songwriter I collaborated with, and he had a 10-year relationship. And started in Brooklyn and ended in Brooklyn. And so when you get in the studio and you're writing songs, you're collaborating, you want to come with ideas, and everybody will come with different ideas. And sometimes it's just a conversation that you have that leads to the song that you write that day. And this is what came out.
Is Brooklyn in the building here today?
Brooklyn in the house.
There you go. Brooklyn is always in the building. As a hip-hop kid growing up in California, though, we came up in the 90s when there was a little bit of division. Did you ever have like that phase where you hated on the East Coast?
Nah, I mean, there's no way I could have taken part of that, kind of separation. And a lot of that separation was in an echelon of hip-hop that I wasn't really engaged in. I mean, I really love underground hip-hop and a lot of the conscious and what they used to call backpack hip-hop.
Right.
So when it escalated to that level of East versus West, it was, sentiments that I wasn't really interested in, some messages I wasn't interested in.
The beef never made its way down into the...
The beef was never in the
hip-hop.
underground, nah. Just it was a very, very commercial level of hip-hop.
I was born in Buffalo, but spent much of my life in Brooklyn.
Right.
And if I go back to the area of Brooklyn that I lived... you don't recognize it, as everyone will tell you, as you know. Brooklyn has changed a lot.
It's changing. It's everywhere is changing all the time. I have the conversation with some people about how things are moving, and some people are living the American dream. They were raised in the brownstone, and they finally get to cash out, move to Atlanta, and new people come in, Brooklyn became so popular because of some of the things that were happening in the media and entertainment that it just became a destination. And that's generally what happens, If there's a low-income place, that's where the artists go to live because it's cheap and they can make their art. They make it popular. Then all the yuppies come in because they want to go to the hip place. But then the artists are too loud, so they kick the artists out and everybody else with them. And then it's boring again. But I think, it's changing. It's an ever-changing cycle. These these different cities and boroughs.
What is the Brooklyn of Los Angeles, by the way? Because I've heard this debated. Do you have an opinion on this?
I think it moves in pockets. Right now, I'd say Echo Park, Silver Lake, Los Feliz.
It's usually on the east side.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this video. This is a beautiful video. It is, as I said, clearly a love letter to Brooklyn. Brownstones, fire hydrants, ice cream trucks, sun-drenched humidity, an ice cube. Was there some homage here to a certain contemporary classic released in 1989?
There's definitely homage to definitely the 80s and 90s Brooklyn, but Brooklyn has been memorialized in film in many different ways, but I appreciate what Spike Lee has done with his films, and there's definitely an homage to Spike in the way we shot this Brooklyn in the Summer video.
Who directed this?
A friend of mine named Anthony Williams. He's a fantastic artist and photographer and just great creative mind. I've known him for years, and he's been helping Miguel out with some of Miguel's art direction and creative design, and we've all known each other for a couple of decades now. So I figured it was time to hit him up and see what we could do togetger.
Your cred in Brooklyn is going to go through the roof with this song.
That's good. I'm happy to have some Brooklyn.
You know who else is going to love this song? Like all 5 million kids who've been named Brooklyn over the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, I just got a message from my buddy Ellis, who named his daughter Brooklyn, and he said this is her favorite song. And so yeah, there's all the Brooklyns out there have a song now.
The only person who hasn't named their daughter Brooklyn is the one person who promised he would, Jay-Z, if you know the lyric.
Yeah,
if I have a daughter, I'm going to name her Brooklyn Carter.
He still might have a chance.
Yeah, that's true. I think that clan is going to grow. You talked about, I think you've compared the vibe of this song to a couple legendary artists, Al Green, Earth, Wind, and Fire. When you're crafting a song, is that sort of part of your process to look for inspiration in the greats and say, I'm gonna make my own version of what these guys would make today?
It's not always at the forefront. I think it's just part of the process. It needs to stand on the shelf next to the greats. It needs to feel as good as classic songs do. And I think when you're thinking about classic, you want something to be timeless. Try to avoid the trappings of whatever the trend is, whatever the new sound or new synthesizer, process that's happening, because in a few years it's going to start looking like architecture from the 70s, which when you see it, you know it and you hate it. So, I don't want my songs to sound like that. Classic is the way to go.
It certainly has a timeless feel to it. That is for sure. Also very feel good, and I feel like this is something that you have a penchant for. You've given us a lot of feel good songs over the last few years between The Man, Wake Me Up, the hit song you did with Avicii, R.I.P. How important is that for you as an artist to lift people up, to write uplifting songs?
Well, my last album was called Lift Your Spirit.
Well, there you go.
So it's definitely part of my profile. I think people ask me what kind of music do I make, and it's hard to pinpoint it because I'm making soul, I'm making R&B, sometimes hip hop, and I've spanned a lot of different genres, folk, and dance music, obviously. But what I like to say is that rather than a genre, I think my music is thematic, and the themes that I like to approach are what I call AIM. This is aspiration, inspiration, and motivation. Brooklyn in the Summer is kind of a departure from that because it's a love song. And growing up in hip hop, I wasn't trained in writing love songs. I listened to enough LL Cool J to get it, but that wasn't my bag. But this is something I want to try to engage. Like I look at the marketplace and see my contemporaries, and they're all hitting with love songs, and none of my hits have been love songs. I figure, let me try it out.
Yeah. How's your wife like it?
My wife loves the song. Yeah. She's really into it. I've been playing with it. Been doing different remixes. We have like a rooftop remix that I did as a house remix because I love house music, and back in the day, you know, as an underground cat, I used to dance a lot, so we'd be in the circles dancing house and that kind of thing. But we got a trap version, we've got a dance version. Yeah. I just love remixing. I remember, you know, growing up in hip hop, having multiple remixes to songs. The Far Side used to do multiple remixes. The Roots used to do multiple remixes, and that I think that's the way, you know, to let a song have a very colorful life.
Especially back then when those remixes, you know, this was pre-Napster, when those remixes were hard to find. I remember like walking around the village, going to every single record shop looking for the Tribe Called Quest album, revised Quest for the Seasoned Traveler, because those things they were not easily found like they are today. I want to know, are there any remixers that who you've worked with on this song so far who you can name?
There's a Steve Smart remix. He's from the UK. Elliot Bohr did a trap remix, and I was just testing it out the other day, and I took his trap remix and I wrote 2 rap verses to it and replaced them with my singing verses, and I played it for my wife, and she was digging it. Yeah. So I feel like there might be something there, but then again, we're old, so maybe we don't know anything, and it's probably really whack. But yeah, I think there's no like super noteworthy like big producer names, just really tasteful cats that deserve a name.
But we could see an EP of Brooklyn in the Summer remixes.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's already 4 different versions out, out, and maybe 3 more coming.
Nice. So nice. So, and this is the first single off your upcoming album.
Yeah, first single off the upcoming album. Working on new songs, and I think I have the album already. Okay. But it's not done until there's a deadline, until they say stop, and then we go to mixing and mastering. So I'm going to keep making more songs. A lot of the songs are, you know, in this vein of telling stories around relationships.
Do you have an idea of when you're going to release it, and does it have a title yet?
I'd love to release it in September, and I don't have a title yet. I've yet to do a self-titled album, so maybe this will be the one.
This could be it. Well, you've mentioned a few times your background in hip hop. I got to ask you guys: are there any Eminem fans here? Does anyone know Eminem? If you know Eminem, you know the beginnings of Aloe Blacc. Yeah. This is No Name Backwards, which actually like took me
took you years to figure out.
It took me a couple of years to figure out. It's like a Dizzy Gillespie reference.
Yeah, I used to play trumpet when I was a kid, and I heard this Dizzy Gillespie jazz tune, and he didn't have a title for it, so he called it Eminem, which is No Name Backwards, and I named my hip hop group with DJ Exile Eminem, and then you know, for about 10 years we just made hip hop music, but then I started getting interested in all the stuff I was sampling from, you know, the Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield to the Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. We were sampling from everywhere, and I just wanted to make songs like the ones I was sampling. I fell in love with listening to singer-songwriters like Joni Mitchell and Cat Stevens, James Taylor. And that's where I really just focused my pen on doing something different.
Yeah, you guys must check out Eminem if you get the chance. Yeah, but you actually you had a few albums in the late 90s, early 00s, and you actually just released one, last year?
Yeah,
Dystopia,
a couple years ago, we released an album called Dystopia, and it's, you know, I'm not necessarily trying to compete in the rap space. There's a lot of competition, and for good or for bad, you know, it's just too kind of tumultuous, and I'd rather just make it as an artistic statement and release and let people have it. So, you know, it's on all the streaming services. You can check it out, called Dystopia.
Do you find that your fans are surprised when they learn that you had this whole career in hip hop?
Yeah, a lot of folks are surprised. They don't know the history so well, which is fine. You know, my goal is to just make songs that can reach you, and the ones that do reach you, I hope they, you know, enhance your life in some positive way. I want my songs to make you feel like the best version of yourself. And I feel like that's what The Man does, and I feel like that's what Wake Me Up does, and hopefully Brooklyn in the Summer. You know, the hip-hop stuff is a lot more political, a lot more introspective, and I'd say it's just a different taste of my my artistic profile.
Can you do an Eminem song at an Aloe Blacc show? Have you?
Every once in a while, I'll extend a song and throw a verse in, and share with people whatever's going on at the moment that I think is relevant. And but I haven't done that for a while. I did a tour through Europe where Exile came out and we did some Eminem and we did some of my solo stuff. And I'm sure I'll go back out with Exile and do some more. I think this is right about the right time. Seeing what's happening in hip hop, I think, with the status that I have in the pop world and the soul world, I can probably lean on that to jump back into hip hop and just see if I can have a voice and share. I feel like people like J. Cole are out there trying to rep for traditional. He's a traditionalist, but he's also really dope MC. And I feel like we need a few more of those kind of cats to just keep the culture alive, because it's dying in many ways, like in very, very blatant physical ways.
Yeah, and I always tell people there's a lot of great hip hop out there, even underground hip hop, that you just have to search for. I mean, it's not easily consumed. You have to know, like, take for instance a song that Exile and Blue released last year called Constellation. Look the song up. That's my jam. But you, my friend, have come a long way since the beginnings of Eminem. You and I have a little history with Eminem in New York City.
Right.
I know I've made you tell, or I've told this story before, but I want to hear it from your perspective now that we are in New York City.
Yeah,
This is a great example. Sorry, this is a great example of just everyone has to start somewhere.
We come from Southern California, so we had kind of SoCal on lock. We could perform anywhere, anytime, but we didn't have New York. So just trying to find gigs and places to perform, and ended up being a place that was super small. I want to say like half the size of this room, but you're kind enough to help us figure out getting a gig and finding a place to perform and sharing. And I think it might have been about this many people in the room, but it got to start somewhere.
It was above a strip club,
and there was that. There was that.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. Sometimes you do, sometimes that's above the strip club. No, but it was you, like you said, you already had California on lock. It was one of those moments where you came to New York and we're like, how does New York not know about this guy yet? How does New York not see this? So it's been a pleasure to watch the world take notice.
Right.
I want to ask you about your collaboration with the great late Avicii, Wake Me Up. Amazing song, kind of tough to listen to in retrospect these days. Probably his best known song. This video has 1.5 billion streams on YouTube. But tell us your memories of working with him.
Working with him was a great opportunity to see how there's musicianship in dance music. I was an elitist before working with him. I thought, they're just, putting a kick on loop or using the stock samples that come in the programs that they get. But when I saw him working on his computer, he was building everything from scratch. And, we made songs that we still haven't even released. And I could see in his passion and his focus how dedicated he was to making the best songs that he could make. And he was really in tune with melody and the musicality of the dance music. It's just unfortunate that, he passed at such a young age. He was one of the best in our era in making this dance music. Because I've seen, a lot of other producers and from every level in the game, and not all of them make their own stuff. They have like a camp of young cats that'll never get credited. Avicii was one of the few who actually created from his heart and his soul, and from the ground up, built a song.
Yeah, left us way too young, only 28. but left a legacy, you know. And as they say, legends never die, you know. Did that experience working with him? I know you mentioned that you know you've always been into house, into EDM, but did that experience, especially the way that song blew up, did that make you eager to explore the dance genre a little more?
Wow. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought like as soon as it became a hit, I was like, oh no, I could probably go out and be a DJ. But then I was like looking at his lifestyle, and I was like, nah, I'm too chill for that. No way. I don't want to be sleepless nights, and you know, it's just loud, and I'm not into all that. I'm down to produce it and be in the background and make the music, but you know, I figure my forte is lyric and melody. I'm gonna write songs that can be produced in any genre. So I don't want to be held to any particular genre. I'm just gonna, if anything, I'm gonna be held to, it's gonna be a theme. And like I said, it's aspiration, inspiration, motivation. Just give people something that they can live by.
And you're a family man, and it's tough to DJ those late nights.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
when you got kids at home.
I appreciate just being a dad, you know?
Yeah.
People ask where I've been for the past 5 years. I've released an album 4 years ago. Well, I've got a 5-year-old daughter to show for it. You know what I mean? That's the song I've been writing.
Right. That's beautiful. Well, we are going to go to audience Q&A.
Okay.
And first up, hello.
Hi. We're actually going to take our first question from an online viewer.
Okay.
Let's see. Music Lover 92 wants to know, what was the most challenging thing to do while you were shooting the music video for Brooklyn in the summer?
Wow, Stay Warm. We shot that in, I want to say February. It was
really
bitter cold. It was raining that day. We were lucky to get some sunlight at the end of the day to get like sun flares shooting through the trees. But if you look at the trees in the video, there's no leaves on them. So yeah, we were freezing, and I was so scared that, you know, the kids would be freezing in that water. But their parents were there, and they had got, you know, we did it with respect.
Well, you point out the lack of leaves, but otherwise you would never know. Like, were you guys like adding sunlight in post?
There were lights outside the window of the brownstone to mimic the sun coming in.
Okay.
So, you know,
it was live. It was practical.
It's the magic of video.
That's amazing. All right, next up.
Hi. I was wondering which neighborhoods in Brooklyn that you shot the video in, and did you use any of the local people in the video?
We used all local people, and I don't know the name of the neighborhood in particular that we shot in, but we used the brownstone. We used the family that lived in the brownstone. So the girls that were sitting on the steps braiding hair were a family that lived there, and we were so happy that we got a chance to use their place. They were so gracious, and you know, they looked wonderful on camera.
Did you know them, or was it a matter of just going up, knocking on a door?
The directors and the producers, I don't know how they found it, but yeah, they scouted. I think they knocked on doors, and they were just asking around, and they lucked out.
Nice. All right, we got one last question. Hi.
Hi. You said you really are into like underground hip hop that's coming out now. Have you ever heard of like, or wanted to work with like the Social Experiment? Because that's something that I personally would love to watch you do, because I love them and I think your voice would just match completely.
That's dope. No, I haven't really gotten into their music, but I'm gonna dig into it, and let's see what happens.
Well, to follow up on that, who on the underground scene right now do you want to work with?
Okay. You can't really call J. Cole underground.
I don't think so.
But I would love to work with someone like J. Cole, Joey Badass. Mm-hmm. In LA, there's Choosy and Joe Haas, who are amazing MCs out of San Diego. Out of LA, I've already worked with Blue, but I continue to work with Blue for sure. Fashawn is dope as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there are a few really dope cats.
I feel like we're giving you guys like a checklist of things to download when you get home. Also, When It Rains, the Dag Savage joint featuring Aloe Blacc, you must check out. This is great, man. It's great to catch up with you. Thank you for coming here today, for showing us your video, telling us all about it. Thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate it.
Great.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Brooklyn, New York. Everybody's gonna love this song. Thank you, man.
Cool.